Never mind. The configured file output path is invalid. Oh, right. Hey, there we go. Now it's probably working. I don't know. Hi, it's Genesis. I'm Eric Allen. I'm here with Joe Drilling.
I'm here with Eric Allen.
Yay! I took my computer apart and rebuilt it and put it back together again in the last 2 hours. So hopefully everything doesn't blow up. Well, we're playing Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse to get it in the right order.
Mm-hmm.
Because apparently branding wasn't
Yep.
as important in 1993 as it is today.
Oh, 1990, my dude.
1990,
1990.
okay.
Yeah, this is an early-ish Genesis game. And yeah, the Disney's fortunes were not quite as good in those days, which is why they licensed out their properties to a whole bunch of people to make video games, because Disney was not the powerhouse mega corporation that it is today. They were basically being kept afloat by their theme parks in 1990.
And now they own everything forever.
And now they own everything forever. So
Shot,
yeah,
jump, attack.
this is so here's a hot tip, because I played a little bit of this to capture some footage for the Genesis draft, which I am in the process of turning into a video. You have to, the button is jump attack, because you have to hit jump a second time while you're in the air for Mickey to take like the butt smashing position and actually pop on enemies. If you don't do that, you will take damage.
Great.
So be aware.
You know, Mario got that right almost 10 years before this game came out.
Yeah, right.
Well,
right.
All right, 6 years.
5 years, yes.
Yeah.
5 years before this, but still, yeah, you're right.
Is it a timing thing, or you just have to hit it again?
No, it's not a timing thing. You can literally double tap it basically, and it'll work.
Okay.
As soon as you see him like throw the butt out like that, that means that you can bop an enemy.
Yeah. So what was the last time? Was the last Disney game Aladdin? Was that the last Disney property we did on this?
Boy,
we did Little Mermaid a very, very long time ago, like in the second or third episode or something.
I think Little Mermaid might have been after Aladdin. I don't remember. I'm gonna check the list now, though.
I'm pretty sure we did Little Mermaid first and Aladdin later on. But
Hipster Black Metal says, didn't they remake this for mobile or PS4? PS3 and 360
Xbox
and Steam.
And PC, yeah, it's all over the place.
And that was delisted for a second, and then they worked out a deal and got it relisted, so you can still get it as far as I know. And it goes on, like every time there's a Steam sale, it's like $1, and it's actually a really good remake. It was done by Sega of Australia, which unfortunately I believe it ended up being their final project. But that's a good remake. When you talk about remakes of classic games, that's a very solid one. So yeah,
nice, played well.
Yeah. The thing that got me...
Didn't that also include like a ROM of the original, I think?
I don't remember if you got the original.
I don't know if that... I don't think that one had the switching thing that you want in one of those. No, like the Monkey Island remakes or the... What was that most recent one there that had that? It was an old Genesis game. Oh, shit.
No, it was a Master System game.
Yeah,
it was Dragon's Trap. Wonder Boy and the Dragon's Trap. Which I almost gave you a Wonder Boy, or I guess a Monster World game this week, but I went with this instead. Because I was thinking, we talked about this before, and with Crusader of Senti, you actually revisited it, you know. But we need to figure out a good way to do like some RPG stuff, because I've like I said, I've been capturing footage to do the Genesis draft as a video, which I owe our Extra Life donors from 1.5 years ago. Sorry about that.
Jesus, I just got crushed by a giant apple.
That'll happen. And I played a little bit of Beyond Oasis, and I wanted to have you play that, but I think for you to really appreciate how dope Beyond Oasis is, you have to play it for more than a half hour, because it's like a Zelda-ish action RPG from Ancient, which is Yuzo Koshiro's company, and it's real good. And Sneaky Turtle Egg says, "Put your ass into it." Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what's going on here. Is You gotta assume the ass smashing position in order to. Also, Mickey gets mad hops when he ass bounces off of an enemy in this game. Like there's some spots where he gets some power
Mickey
ups
got
and stuff.
back.
And you have to, yeah. But this game is in a lot of ways, noteworthy because it was developed by Sega R&D2, who were like the serious heavy hitters of Sega, and they employed. So let's see. That team included Reiko Kodama, who did the Phantasy Star games, Yu Suzuki and Yuji Naka, who Yu Suzuki did
Shenmue, so he made bad games.
Shenmue, but also like Space Harrier
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Afterburner, and Yuji Naka, who did Sonic the Hedgehog and all that stuff. And in fact, Mark Cerny, the architect, Sony's like chief hardware architect, was part of that studio as well. So it was like all of the kind of really famous Sega developers from that era like were there, and they did, I mean, just a ton of stuff on the Genesis. That Space Harrier 2, Alex Kidd, Forgotten Worlds, Ghouls and Ghosts, Golden Axe, Mystic Defender, Phantasy Star 2, Revenge of Shinobi, this game, eSWAT, Moonwalker, Phantasy Star 3, Shadow Dancer, like the Strider port. Like they just did so much stuff. And then they in 1990 they were sort of rolled into another part of Sega, so that's sort of where their softography ends, if you will. But they also did a bunch of stuff on Master System, the port of Outrun, the port of Ghostbusters, which is the best version of David Crane's Ghostbusters game, the Rambo game.
We played a lot of those games.
Yeah. The port of Quartet, stuff like that. Like they did a whole bunch of stuff. Real good stuff. So, and hey, Mike is here with us now to talk about Mickey Mouse, I assume.
And if you're a Scottish lord, then I am Mickey Mouse.
How dare he? Sky Reynolds says, "Who's the witch on the cover? Is she a character from a Mickey Mouse cartoon?" So
It's the witch. It's also the same witch that flies in front of the moon in Castlevania 3.
Yeah, right.
Actually, in the cover of this, it's a cloud, and on Castlevania 3, it's a witch. It's weird.
Yeah. They call the witch Mizrabel, but if you look at her sprites, one of her sprites looks like the queen from one of the sprites looks like the queen from Snow White when she's like turns herself into an old lady to give Snow White the apple, and then one of her sprites looks like Maleficent. So I'm not really sure what they were going for, but it's apparently technically a different witch who was made strictly for this game, apparently. So I don't know. And she kidnapped Minnie so that she could steal her charming good looks, I guess, even though she's a human and Minnie's a mouse. You know what? I don't want to get into it.
One sexy mouse. Nothing on Gadget, but
I mean,
who's the sexiest rodent, Joe?
I mean, it's probably Gadget, I guess. If that's a thing that does it for you, I suppose. The thing that I think is really just a nice touch in this game is that the weapon that you use in every stage, it's different. In the forest level, it's apples. In the toy level, it's marbles.
Spoilers.
You're in the toy level. There's
I know, but I don't have them yet, and I don't know. It could be anything.
Yeah, but there's an icon at the bottom of the screen.
They could be phantasm orbs.
Yeah, that's... Mickey turns into the tall man. And due to illness tonight, the role of Mickey Mouse will be played by Angus Scrimm.
I wish.
Sky Reynolds says Gadget heart.
See?
Sneaky Turtle Egg says the box art is pretty good. I like it. Yeah, it is.
The box art's very good.
Sky Reynolds also says Mickey has the happiest walk cycle I've seen. He looks really stoked to be having to save his girlfriend from a witch. And his idle animation is good. He like swings, he like dances in his
He's
idle
thrusting
animation.
his hips in the direction of the problem. He has a very good almost falling animation as well if you stand right on the edge.
Yep. Yep. All of his animations. He
I
has a
don't. What are
good like
the?
actually
I
falling.
should pause for a second here and just see if he's got an idle animation aside from the dick thrusting.
See if he looks at his
Yeah,
watch and
taps
stares
his
at
foot
you.
and looks at
taps
you.
his foot.
Doesn't look like it. I don't know how long I should wait, but
Yeah, I think his normal idle, they figured like that's enough. He has this like sort of obscenely animated idle thing for the time. We'll just leave it at that.
yeah, for being
Sky
from
Reynolds-
1990, this is a damn fine looking video game.
Yeah, Sky Reynolds says the almost falling animation is a lot like Sonic's. It is a lot like Sonic's.
Oh wow, the running down the slope animation is also very good.
Yep. So Mickey was in four games, I think, on the Genesis. 3 of which are good, 1 of which is trash. So, but I think this was the second one. I can't remember if Fantasia came out before this or not, but Fantasia is the one that's trash. So,
Okay.
in case you were curious.
What do you How do you feel about Mickey Mousecapades?
I don't feel great about Mickey Mousecapades, but it's more fun than Fantasia on the Genesis.
Okay. How do you feel about Mickey's Letter Safari on the NES? Those were the only 2 Mickey Mouse games I owned when I was a kid.
I have no memory of Mickey's Letter Safari. I don't know if I ever played that. I definitely played the Sesame Street games.
Yeah, that Mickey Mouse one is very similar to that.
Yeah. You know, all things considered, for a licensed character, Mickey's got like a pretty good video game history. He hasn't been in a lot of clunkers. Only a couple.
I don't know. Did you ever play either of the Warren Spector?
I actually didn't.
Epic Mickey, and I forget what the sequel was called, but it was something like that. Epic Mickey 2,
Mickey
possibly.
2. Yes, I believe it was called Epic Mickey.
That was the
2.
era of the subtitle, so I mean, we still living in the era of the subtitle.
Epic Mickey 2. What was the subtitle there? I don't remember, but
I don't remember.
I heard those were like pretty good. Sneaky Turtle Egg says this is before Fantasia, so I don't know. Then there's no excuse for Fantasia if this was before it. But there's this, and there's World of Illusion, which is has a 2-player co-op with Donald Duck. And then I think there's another of Illusion game on the Game Gear for sure, but I thought there was one more on the Genesis, but now I can't think of what it's called, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there were 3 Genesis games and then 1. And actually, Sega must have had a very good relationship with Disney, because there was a whole bunch of Disney games for the Genesis and the Game Gear and Master System, and Quackshot is also good.
I was gonna say Donald Duck has a pretty high hit rate for video games. Partially because he hasn't been in very many of them, but
Right.
Maui Mallard and Quackshot are both fine games.
Yeah. And he was also in Lucky Dime Caper on the Game Gear and Master System, which is pretty good. Master System version is better because it's got a better resolution.
It's not on the Game Gear?
Because you're not looking into a tiny window to see Donald's world. Oh, gravity flipping mechanics.
Nice.
This was like Sega just got done porting Strider, and they were like, "How can we get more gravity flipping mechanics?"
Fucking unicycles, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, points.
Sneaky Turtle Egg says that I bought Fantasia as the follow-up when it first came out. I thought it was going to be a good sequel. Yeah, yikes. Also, there was a Mickey Mouse game by High Tech too. It was pretty bad. High Tech has done exactly one game that isn't total garbage, and it's Harley's Humongous Adventure for the Super Nintendo. Everything else that High Tech ever published was trash. People talk about Acclaim and LJN, and that like they were the the high watermark in bad video games. I'm like, nah, man. Let me tell you about High Tech Expressions. They did the DOS Mega Man games.
Not good.
Yeah, they did the NES Muppet Adventure game, which is real bad. They did a whole bunch of stuff that was just really, really abysmal. And for some reason, like a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while, and Harley's Humongous Adventure is actually pretty fun on the Super Nintendo. But that's kind of it for for High Tech Expressions. I think they did some bad Street Fighter ports on PC as well. They had some sort of deal with Capcom to make really bad PC ports. Sky Reynolds says the Muppets had an NES game. The Muppets did have an NES game. It's called Muppet Adventure Chaos at the Carnival, I believe.
It's really bad.
And the best thing about it is that it has like amazing cover art, and that is it. Everything else about it is awful.
The only good thing about it is that it has the Muppets in it.
Yeah, well, it really just brings down the Muppets, though, I think, more than anything. I remember I rented that game to take on a vacation with my family one time, like to my grandparents' house up north, and I rented that and Mendel Palace, and I spent pretty much the whole trip that I spent playing Nintendo was spent with Mendel Palace and not with Muppet Adventure. Man, that game is real bad. Sky Reynolds also says it's funny that Fantasia is the bad one considering the movie is widely regarded as a masterpiece. Yeah, casual racism aside, Fantasia is a fantastic movie.
It's a very nice looking movie.
And yeah, I mean the best segment is definitely Night on Bald Mountain. That's usually at this point in my life, if I'm feeling the urge to watch Fantasia, I just watch Night on Bald Mountain, and then that's it. But yeah, Fantasia is a real good movie. And the game is real bad. And, they had 45 years to make that video game.
Okay, so as an appreciator of Fantasia, did you play the Harmonix Fantasia?
I didn't, actually, because I never had a Kinect. That was a Kinect game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
I never had a Kinect. Yeah, never had a Kinect, so.
What? Oh, come on. Oh, Dick, you jumped 3 times, not twice. This guy's cheating.
Well, you know what they say. If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Oh, yeah.
This
is the orange gem. You still have a long way to go before you can save Minnie.
That's right.
Did I not get a gem for the first level?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
It's like the orbs at the end of a Castlevania boss. The level doesn't finish until you grab it, so.
I am 2/7 of the way through.
So, Mike was here, but he never said... Mike is still here, but hasn't said anything.
Maybe he's busy.
Then why did he come into the... Why did he log into the chat?
Hopefully he's not an emergency.
Yeah, oh yeah.
There's nothing down here. Unless... Aha!
Oh, here we go. He said he can't talk, and the kid is super awake, and he's on call. Sky Reynolds says, what would transferring Minnie's looks to a human witch do? Give her bigger ears, wider hips? I don't... You know what, man?
It's more about the fashion sense, Oh, shit.
Yes, that's it. She would absorb Minnie's fashion sense.
Just get some checkered bloomers and...
A bow.
Yeah. Although you could either
She'd be topless
kidnap...
all the time, though.
Yeah, you kidnap Minnie or you just, wear a tablecloth. Either way.
Yeah, right. Well, I guess eventually, sometimes Minnie wears a dress, but I feel like they were both topless for a lot of their early career.
How do I get out of the water?
So, also, I only recently was exposed to the idea that Pete is a cat.
Okay.
I I guess I always thought he was a dog, although he's got pointy ears like a cat. But
I
some
mean, there's
dogs
a lot
have
of
pointy
dogs that have
ears.
pointy ears.
Right? Yeah.
In fact, most dogs'
Um,
ears are pointy. They just usually don't stand up.
And since, I mean, I understand that he's a foil for Mickey, so it would make sense that he's a cat, but he's also a foiled for Donald, and that doesn't, I mean, none of that makes sense. It doesn't make sense if he's a dog
Cat
either.
would fuck up a duck, I think, if it was given the opportunity to.
Well, I mean, maybe, yeah.
Cats and birds.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean,
it's
Pete's
true.
just a jerk more than anything else. He's not really
Right,
trying to
right.
kill and eat
Well,
Mickey. It's not like a
except in
Tom and
Goof Troop.
Jerry kind of a...
Right.
Well, even
In
that,
Goof
he's
Troop,
just a dickhead. Right?
Yeah. Jeremy Bauer says, I know it's a little off topic, but are you guys excited for Streets of Rage 4? Well, Lizard Cube did a real good job with Dragon's Trap. We were talking a little bit about Dragon's Trap earlier. Lizard Cube did a real good job with Dragon's Trap, so, you know, I'm definitely willing to give it a shot.
From what I've seen of it, I don't know how excited I am, but...
You know, I'm not in love with the art style, but I mean,
Yeah.
the art looks good. I'm just not in love with that style necessarily for a Streets of Rage game, and there's also part of me that feels like we were kind of spoiled by Streets of Rage Remake.
Yeah, it's also super, like, juggle-based, which isn't really what I think of when I think of Streets of Rage. Like, a lot of
Yeah, I
hitting
think
dudes in the air, and then, like, juggling them and stuff. And they still haven't fixed the music yet in that latest trailer, so... Like, that has to... Like, they have to do something with the music can't be what the music has been in the trailer, or that game will be a utter failure. It's so important to the aesthetic and everything, the feel of those games, that... I don't know what the exact right answer is if they're not going to get Yuzo Koshiro to do it, but it can't be what it is. But, I don't know, we'll see. Like Joe said, the Streets of Rage remake was, like, so good that it has a lot to live up to.
Yeah, that was one of my that was one of my top 10 games in the Sticky Awards that year. That might have been the very first, that might have been the inaugural Sticky Awards that I put that game in my top 10. That game's really good. I like that game a lot.
It's true.
But yeah, I mean, I'm very interested to see what they do with Streets of Rage 4. And I think, you know, part of it is it's good that they maybe waited this long. Like, a lot of people were like, oh, we should have got Streets of Rage on the Dreamcast. We should have got a Streets of Rage on the Saturn.
Yeah, but it just would have been like Fighting Force. It just would have been trash. It
Right,
would
well,
not have
Fighting
been
Force
good.
actually started as a Streets of Rage
Right.
game.
Right.
And then Sega was
Yes.
like, nah.
That's what I'm saying.
We don't want... Yeah.
We don't want that because it sucks.
Right.
Although it's not like Sega was against putting out a bunch of bad games at that time
I
either.
mean,
So
Sega put out... Sega also gave us Golden Axe the Duel on the Saturn and not Revenge of Death Adder, which is still... I mean, that's... Come on. Amateur hour over here. But,
So yeah, I'm not. I mean, I'm keeping my expectations low, but I hope it's good. That would be fun. I would like a new good Streets of Rage game. I do kind of like. I think the art style's pretty good. They got like the character variety and stuff seems on point. But we just haven't really seen enough of it to say one way or to other.
Yeah, but I'm theoretically into it. I don't know. Aesthetics bother me, I think, less than they bother Eric. But
I mean, if it's ugly and the music is bad, that's not good.
no, it's not good. But I can look past that if it plays. You know, if the gameplay is amazing, I can look past that. And I feel like there's been at least a couple games in the tenure of our friendship where you have just like not played a game because you thought it was so ugly. So
It's true. You know what? There's a lot of good games out there, so I'm not gonna spend time on something I don't like the look or the sound of.
Yeah, I mean that's not a completely unreasonable stance to take for sure.
Well, there was something recently that I said that about. That the new Mega Man game.
Yeah, Mega Man 11, and so apparently they've done a lot. Well, apparently I know because I've seen it, but they've done a lot to improve the looks of Bloodstained from its demo last July. But
Is it not ugly anymore?
It's I mean, it's still 3D.
Okay.
So if that was your problem, if your hang-up was just that,
I
like, it
mean,
was in 3D,
the animation was bad
but
and it was ugly. You could probably do that, or you can do that art style better, I think.
it looks a lot different.
Okay.
Like there's comparisons. There's like side by side videos they posted on the Kickstarter page and stuff. That's like, here's what it looked like then, and like here's what we've done to it so far. And things have a lot more shading. Like they don't look as flat and sort of like overly lit.
Yeah, a
for
lot
lack
of it
a
looked
better
like
way of
bad
putting
deviant
it.
art, fan art stuff before.
Yeah, I think it looks a lot better. And of course, I mean, I paid for my copy
Whoa.
like 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, or however long ago that
Yeah.
was at this point. So, I mean, whatever, in for a penny, in for a pound for me. But, you know,
It's too late. You have to play it.
Hmm.
I mean, you got the.
I mean, I
you
kind
got
of feel
your
like I got
money's
my money's
worth.
worth.
Yeah.
Bloodstained.
Right.
What was it?
Curse of.
Curse of the Moon.
Yeah.
No, not Curse of the Moon.
Wasn't it?
No, because there's a Castlevania game called Curse of the Moon.
There's a
no, Circle of the Moon.
Circle of the Moon is
That's
a
right.
Castlevania
Yeah,
game.
sorry,
This is
yes,
Curse
it was
of the Moon.
Bloodstained Curse of the
Yeah.
Moon. That game's real good. If anybody hasn't played that game,
That game
that's
is really good. It has a
worth
nice art style.
$15.
It's really short too. You can just play it. It doesn't require a huge commitment or anything, which is kind of nice.
It's sort of like a steroid amped version of Dracula's Curse.
I mean, it's considerably shorter than Dracula's Curse, but you can play all the characters at the same time, which is kind of cool. So
I don't know that I'd say it's. I think it gets its replay value in a different way.
it's
right? Like Dracula's Curse.
it's a lot easier than Dracula's Curse.
Yes.
I think it's shorter just to like whip through it also, but I could be wrong.
And
about
I played it on and it gives you lots of options.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised that people didn't get mad online about being able to turn the knockback off. And weren't yelling about get good and deal with the knockback. But I played it with the knockback on. I played it on the old school difficulty level or whatever. But the way it gets its replay value is a little different. In Dracula's Curse, you're expected to play through it multiple times to see all the different paths. And in Curse of the Moon, you're expected to just replay it and with different sort of modifiers. So the first time you play through it, you can get all 3 of the companions, but then there's a mode where you replay it with just the companions and not the main character.
right, or just the main character.
Right, and then you can play it with the main. If you play it with the main character only and you kill all of the companions, you get special abilities for the main character. And then there's an ultimate mode once you do that where you can get the companions. And you start with all the upgrades and you can still get the companions. And then there's 2 different endings. There's 2 different final stages and that stuff. So that's how that game gets its replay value as opposed to Dracula's Curse, which is
Just
like
super fucking difficult.
just really hard and also has different sets of stages that depending on you can not go in the clock tower at all. I don't know why you do that because Grant is arguably the best companion character, especially in the Japanese version. Or you know, and then there's a number of places where you can choose to go one direction or go the other direction, and that totally changes the stages. If you go to Alucard path, you go under the castle through the catacombs and what's probably the hardest path.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy Bowers says, yeah, I agree. They got to nail that soundtrack to some degree. Yeah. I mean, Yuzo Koshiro's doing a new soundtrack not a new soundtrack, but doing music for the menu of the Genesis Classic that's coming out in September. So, I mean, he's around. He still makes music. He's still associated with Sega. Like, just make a couple of tracks for New Streets of Rage.
Right. Or there are a million people on Bandcamp that make music that would totally work
that would fit,
New Streets of Rage and would probably be happy to do it for not a ton of money if that's what they're looking for.
Right. You could probably just find some like people who actually made house music in the 90s and just like ask them if they need to make some money.
Or just commission remixes of the Streets of Rage music or whatever.
Just do what Capcom did with the Street Fighter thing and just go to OC Remix and just be like, hey, you guys want to put your songs in the actual game? Sounds good. Sky Reynolds says that boss you just fought looks like a cross between a gremlin and the creature from the Black Lagoon. It really does.
I must be brave and smart to save Minnie.
It's true. This is watching you play this level now just makes me want to fight that that freaky chick in the gingerbread castle in Cuphead.
Oh, bye. Oh, man. You know, it's a good video game.
Cuphead.
Yeah.
Cuphead's a real good video game. Oh, Mike says he's actually here now.
Hi,
It's
Mike.
a fact.
Hey, what's up, Mike?
Oh,
Have you
not
played
too much.
Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse?
I have never played this game. No.
Okay.
Did you play the remake?
Nope, not that version either. I played. What's the Super Nintendo game that's kind of like this?
Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse?
Right. Isn't
Yeah,
there like
maybe.
Forest of Illusion also a thing?
Could be.
Or something
no,
like
that's
that.
not. There's,
Isn't there a
there's
Mickey
Land
Mouse?
of Illusion,
Okay.
World of Illusion. Let's see.
Isn't there
I
a
remember-
Forest of something or something? Could be wrong.
There is a
about that.
forest. Yeah, I remember the Super Nintendo one being pretty good, and it had like a thing where it had like a Bionic Commando grappling hook section.
That's Magical Quest.
Yeah.
They just gave me a gem. I didn't have to fight a boss there. That was it.
So this game's supposed to be good, right?
This game is good.
I mean, I'll
Yeah,
tell you in
it-
a couple minutes here.
Okay. I just personally just watching it, it looks really slow and kind of pokey.
So yeah, Castle of Illusion, Land of Illusion for the Master System and Game Gear, World of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, Legend of Illusion
Oh, wow.
released on the Game Gear, and Sega Ages I Love Mickey Mouse, a compilation of Castle of Illusion and Quackshot released for the Saturn in 1998.
Weird.
And
1998.
then
Late for a Saturn game.
Well, not in Japan. In Japan, the thing was firing on all cylinders right up until about late 1998 when the Dreamcast came out. Then there was the remake in 2013, which is good. And then under related games, we have Quackshot, Lucky Dime Caper, and Deep Duck Trouble.
Deep
And
Duck
that-
Trouble, huh?
And then, Epic Mickey Power of Illusion, which was developed by Dream Rift for the Nintendo 3DS as a follow-up to Epic Mickey. Yeah, I don't remember that game. I feel like people said it was better than Epic Mickey 2, but I don't remember that much about it.
Well, anyway, I played one Mickey game on the Super Nintendo, and I thought it was pretty good.
It was probably
Is
the
that the
two
one
that
with
got
the-
released in the
Is that the one
US
with the
are...
moose? There's one with
No,
a really
that-
nice
no,
looking
no, no.
moose in the Super
That's
Nintendo.
Mickey Mania, the
Okay.
timeless. That's another good Mickey Mouse game. That was done by Shiny. Before they were actually Shiny, I think, but it was like
Yeah. The Dave Perry.
and Dave Perry, and I think David Jaffe actually worked on that game too. The weird fact about that game: the Sega CD version is actually the best version of that game, and the Super Nintendo version has load times. Like, who wants that? Let's see. JL says, "Oh man, great game. I like the Super Nintendo Magical Quest Mickey better, but this is a great game too. My favorite is probably Adventures in the Magic Kingdom on the NES." And he's referring then to Mickey Mouse Capade. I have a soft spot for Adventures in the Magic Kingdom, but Space Mountain is some bullshit in that game, and was for the longest time
It's
was like the
real
place where I
weird
just-
that they put Ric Flair's penis into a video game.
into a video game. Yeah, it was really bizarre, but it tells you which way to pull it every couple seconds. It's like a giant QuickTime event. Actually, that's actually true. It is like a giant QuickTime event. And that is that was a sticking point for me in that game for years. I didn't beat that game until I was an adult because I couldn't get past Space Mountain. But the Haunted Mansion level and the Pirates of the Caribbean level and stuff were like pretty fun. But yeah, I don't know. There was Mickey Mania, and then there was on the Super Nintendo there was Magical Quest, and then that was a sequel, but instead of calling it Magical Quest 2, they called it The Great Circus Mystery or something.
Mhm.
And only one stage takes place at a circus, and it was literally called Magical Quest 2 in Japan, but whatever. And then there was a Magical Quest 3 in Japan, but we didn't get that one because it was a pretty late Super NES game. But then we did get it on the Game Boy Advance, so there you go.
Okay. Well, I died all my lives, so
Well, there you go.
shall we call it an episode of Genesis or Genesisn't?
I think we can call it an episode.
think
Would
you
you
Genis
say
should.
this
Yeah.
Genesis?
Yeah, I can't give it a qualified. It is a little slow, like Mike says. It's an old ass video game from 1990. It feels it to a certain extent. It's definitely sort of playable and pretty laid back. I made pretty deep progress, I feel like, for my first attempt at it.
Yeah.
Especially given how much more difficult it is to play a game when you're engaged in a conversation and whatever. But
Right.
it's pretty good.
It feels like you should be able to hold B
And
run,
sprint.
like
Yeah.
like Mario, but you can't.
Yeah, and also having to double tap to jump on enemies is really weird. Like
That's
that's
so
just
weird.
it's a weird decision. It was a decision that might have made more sense before, say, Mario Brothers.
Super
came
Mario
out.
Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it
I
looks
guess-
pretty good. It's got like there's a lot of nice like detail and stuff in the background, but it doesn't get to the point where it's too noisy to see what's happening. And bosses are a little, whatever. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, I chose this game. I don't remember if I actually said this on. I think I said it in the stream. I chose it because it was picked in our Genesis draft, which I am currently in the process of making into a video. And I believe it was chosen by Austin Walker, I think, chose Castle of Illusion. Back before he was Waypoint editor-in-chief, Austin Walker. Yeah, he chose Castle of Illusion, and I played a little bit of it, and I was like, you know what? This seems like it would be a good thing for Eric to play this week, because it's pretty good. It's an early Genesis game, and I just played some of it, so I was in a good spot to talk about it. So also look forward to that, people who like this show. That draft will be getting posted maybe as early as tomorrow, otherwise Friday. Because getting all those video clips in there is not super easy.
takes a long time.
Takes a long time to get and to animate all the box art and stuff. If you watch the Super Nintendo draft, and basically it's going to be very similar to that. So look forward to it. And thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.